I feel like the Masahiro Sakurai glazing is just out of control.
Yes, because you can't just show me like a game from 20 years ago and be like, it's new and good now, actually.
A critical error is an error which the OS cannot reasonably ignore. Jake Steinberg is a streamer, writer, and certified yapper, complimentary. Peter Hunt Szpytek is a YouTuber, journalist, and certified yapper, derogatory. These are the things they cannot reasonably ignore.
So we all gather around our computers to watch Sakurai talk about Kirby Air Riders for 45 minutes. I want to remind everybody that it is August of 2025. Kirby Air Riders is coming out in November. We got to see Sakurai explain to us the delicate intricacies of his design. We got to learn things like how to steer, how to go forward. The fact that the warp star that Kirby is riding on does not create friction with the ground below him. It instead hovers. This is the great insight from one of the greatest directors, video game minds of our time. Thank you.
Jake, before we even like get into that, did the fact that it was 45 minutes, like before it even started, when it was like 45 minutes long, did that make you think that it was going to be something? That it was going to be like something maybe different than what it was?
It being 45 minutes long convinced me that there was something about this game that I did not know, that I wouldn't have been able to guess about before the presentation. And obviously it turned out not to be the case.
Because Kirby Air Ride, like the original from like 2003, is like sort of like infamously known for being an incredibly simple game. Like the whole thing about it is it has one button.
Yes.
It is a one button game, which I think can work. And I would like to also like get in front of this and say, I like Kirby Air Ride, and I'm actually interested in Kirby Air Riders. There were bits about that presentation where I was like, I'm sold, I'm interested, I'm down. But because they were like, this is 45 minutes, I was like, damn, they are like changing up what this game is going to be. If you need 45 minutes to explain what the sequel to Kirby Air Ride is going to be, then you are actually bringing something new to the table. And it felt like I was watching like a parody of a direct, you know what I mean? Where like I like Masahiro Sakurai. He seems like a charming fellow, and like the way, like he is a charming fellow is what I mean. Like like in this video, it is cute, like the way he's like talking about stuff. When he talks about like the first game, we had one button, and he's like, we've had to add a second button, unfortunately, which is funny. Like like that's a joke. That's funny.
Yeah.
But also, in the same breath, he is explaining how to turn left and turn right by moving the analog stick to the left and to the right.
And again, I want to emphasize that we are being taught how to play a game that we will not be able to play for 3 months.
Yeah, and it's a game that like is the most easily intuitable, understandable thing in the whole world.
Which is part of the premise of what the game is and why it originally had one button.
Yes, because here's the thing. I played a lot of Mario Kart World with my fiance Elena, and she was asking me, she's like, how do you, I'm holding an Xbox controller, but pretend this is a Switch controller. She's like, how do you, like, she's like, my thumb keeps falling off the stick from holding up. And I was like, oh, you don't have to do that. You just have to hold the A button to go forward, and then you just left and right, like it's a car.
Right.
And, and she was like, oh, okay, that makes sense. So like, to some degree, I am like, okay, maybe you do need to explain that a little bit.
Right.
But then I was like, but I don't even think so, because in Mario Kart you have to hold A. Like there is a like mechanic to movement to like going forward, where in Kirby Air Riders it's just like you just go forward, you just go straight, like no matter what.
A part of me is confused why people find this to be such a hard idea to even parse, because I think the idea at its core is just that instead of a car, like you said, and you're holding the acceleration, the gas,
right,
you are on top of something that is more akin to a rocket ship, where the thrusters
it's just
are going, and you're aiming the direction, and then what holding the A button does is actually holds back those thrusters a little bit so that you can, aim and then release. So like I don't find that to be a particularly hard concept to parse.
Like not at all. And so it's just so weird. It's just odd to me, Jake Steinberg, that like we are treating this Nintendo Direct, this Kirby Air Riders Direct, like it was an extraordinarily revelatory thing where we learned so much about Kirby Air Riders. And again, as someone who likes the original, as someone who likes Kirby Air Ride, I've not returned to it since I was a child, so like let that be what it is.
Yes.
Because I do want to unpack that a little bit.
Right.
In a more complicated way. I did not learn anything about Kirby Air Riders really from this game, from this showcase, other than it's pretty much just Kirby Air Ride again.
Let's unpack this because so Sakurai has this reputation for being this like very granular kind of guy. Yeah. In past showcases, he has done these extended looks at Super Smash Brothers like DLC characters that he's designed. And I think in a fighting game, there is a lot of inherent nuance. There is a lot of like artistry, we could even say, and design sensibilities that go into what is this character's moveset? How do you use them? What are the tools available to them? There are these kind of intricacies that are worth being granular about because fighting games are granular. And there is a structure meeting a style there. The fighting game being the structure and Sakurai being the style. There's something there that I think works. And since those Smash Brothers presentations, Sakurai had his own YouTube channel where he would, if you asked people, he would talk about game design. I would push back on that a little bit, but again, has this reputation for kind of like diving deep into something and kind of exploring his like the delicate choices he makes when playing a game. So now we arrive at Kirby Air Ride, and now we are applying this style, Sakurai, now to a different structure. The structure being not a fighting game, but to a racing game. A racing game, which we, again, have already articulated, has a degree of simplicity baked into it. An underlying idea of simplicity. And I think watching Sakurai's style be applied to this thing, all style, no substance. That's all I get from this. I feel the same way about this presentation about Kirby Air Ride that I do about his YouTube channel videos. I find them to be fleetingly interesting. I think that every so often you get kind of like oh, that's neat. But everything you could learn from Sakurai's YouTube channel, you could learn if you were a critical thinker. If you were somebody who would look at Smash Brothers and break it down and actually close read what is in front of you, you could come to every single conclusion that Sakurai spells out for you in his presentations and otherwise, because that is the impact of his work. That is the impact of a good, strong artist. He is intuitively making these things clear to you. And I swear to God, Peter, these showcases from Sakurai are feeling less like a behind-the-scenes look at something interesting, less like something that is actually meant to provide insight, and more for TED Talks for people who have never thought critically about anything in their lives.
To me, I see what you're saying. I would push on that a little bit, and maybe just, not push, maybe just like I would deflect it a little bit, and I would say like to me, it's less about that and more about just like, we know you want to hear from Sakurai. So here's a video of the guy talking about his new game, you know, and like, should they have done a Kirby Air Riders direct, which by the way, the title, this is not important, but I'm like, I think the title is bad.
Agreed.
But like, does Kirby Air Riders need a direct? Yeah, maybe. Sure. Does it need to be 45 minutes long? I would say no. I would say this is a 20-minute direct, and I would say 15 minutes of it should be talking and like maybe explaining some of the stuff, and then 5 minutes just do the city trial demo. So
you're feeling like you're seeing through some marketing here, that they are using Sakurai in this way, not because the game demands it, but because it is maybe feeding an idea to the audience member that this game is deep, interesting. It is the thinking man's Mario Kart.
Again, as someone who likes Kirby Air Ride, I can't think of a game that demands explanation less. Like it's one button. It's one button. And now, it's two. But now they added the revelatory idea of characters have a special meter that charges up, and then you just push the button when the special meter is charged to have them do a fun little attack.
Right.
Like, that's great. That's fine. But like, be so for real with me, everyone. That is not a like groundbreaking thing. Come on now. You know what I mean? Like come on now.
It begs this question, right? Because I think the most complex thing about Kirby Air Ride is this kind of city trial mode. And
that's the thing that is actually the most interesting to me.
And do you feel that the city trial mode is like easier or harder to understand in 2025 than it was in 2003? Because I would argue, Peter, we've kind of seen the city trial mode now in not just Sakurai's own games and Kid Icarus and Smash Brothers for the 3DS with the Smash Run mode, but we've kind of seen other online games have elements of this game so that when you see it in 2025, I don't think it's that hard to understand.
City Trial was the first battle royale. Wonderful video by one Mr. Christian Macias, friend of the pod, about how Nintendo made the first battle royale and it was the City Trial mode. Yeah, I agree. It's not something that I think needs like extreme explanation. And the only like, as someone who's familiar with the first game, the explanation just like told me like, oh, you guys didn't change this at all. Really? I mean, there's some like superficial changes, so like don't at me, right? Like I do understand that things have been changed. It is a new video game technically, but like now no longer necessitating that you physically jump off your what do they call them? Machines? Was that the word it's calling them?
Okay.
Now that you don't have to actually jump off your machine in order to get on a new one, now you can just bump into it. Like, okay, that's not a real innovation, guys. Like, well, I mean, like that's a small quality of life change. But to me, I look at Kirby Air Riders and I'm like, this feels like it started as a remaster.
Whoa. Okay.
And there are some, and there are fundamental differences in that, like, you could play as King DDD, you could play as Meta Knight in the original game, but as they point out, like, they had set sort of like carts that they rode on. Like Meta Knight flew and King DDD rode on like one of like the ice cream truck thing. And now it's not the case. And now there's a handful of other characters that are in it. But like to me, that is like, okay, that's a big enough change that that you can't just put this in a remaster. But I don't know. It feels like with the city trial thing, I was like, oh, this is like fully the exact same thing.
Yeah, I mean, and listen, I loved King DDD as much as the next guy, so
of course,
I can't wait. That's my main. And does this game have the opportunity to, in future showcases, reveal more? Is there a story mode in this game? Is there like that kind of?
Seems like they were teasing it.
I think so, and I think all of that is fine and good, and the game is going to be what the game is. And I don't really have a problem with the game. I anticipate that the game will be fun.
Certainly.
I think I'm more surprised that the game has this kind of like highly sought after November slot and that it is a $70 title from Nintendo.
Yes.
I think that's more surprising to me. But I think the thing that I want to focus on the most is that the response to this direct is kind of trying to feed this idea that anything Sakurai does or says is immediately kind of injected with artistic integrity. Is we assume that because he is this lofted, this great director, that every single one of his projects has the same amount of intentional design and, again, integrity as the last. And I find that that is holding people back from criticizing the thing that's actually in front of them. Because, Peter, I saw a million posts yesterday about how insightful Sakurai is and how cool it is that he's one of these rare people that really dives into game design. But I have not seen anybody tell me what was actually insightful about that presentation. What is the thing that he told you that you're like, oh, that was, I can't believe he opened the curtain on that. Where are those pieces?
The lesson? Yes. What's the lesson to have been learned from any of this? Agreed.
And every reaction is just talking about how great he is, but nobody can tell me what it was that he showed that was so awesome to behold.
And it's this thing like, and I think we're on the same page here. Where I'm like,
yeah,
he is a great director.
Yes,
he is a great game maker who has insights. And I think what you said about his like YouTube channel makes a lot of sense. Where it's like a testament to the design of those games is that you can look at them and go, I see everything that's happening here. If you really analyze them, and that's a testament to being well designed.
Yes,
right?
100%.
Because in a game like that, you have to visually be able to read what's happening and understand it.
There is no piece of art where there should be required reading to understanding it.
Right.
So why do we pretend that like this required reading from Sakurai is somehow enhancing our perspective on Kirby Air Ride, when I feel it's clearly not.
Yeah, it is this thing where I think we all fall victim to this to some regard, right?
Yeah.
Whether it's in games or whether it's not. But like, do you know how sometimes I'm trying to think of an example that like I could give in my personal life.
Okay.
If they may, okay, here it is. I knew that I was going to like Alan Wake 2 before it came out because I like Remedy and I like Alan Wake. Okay. And I was like, there would have to be a colossal problem with this game for me to be like, I didn't like it.
Right. Okay. Yeah.
And I understand that as a critic, that makes me not the guy to go to for a nuanced Alan Wake review. Do you kind of know what I'm saying?
I do, but I would say that obviously you are still capable of doing so. It's just you have a specific perspective. Yeah.
Yes. So because I'm a like Alan Wake fan, it means that I'm going to like Alan Wake too. That said, I think that we should, when things come out or creators make stuff or whatever, we should like try at the very least to be like, and to analyze the thing for what it is.
Right.
I like Sakurai. He seems like a nice guy. He's a funny, charming person to host something like this, which he's done, before a lot of. I like the shirts he wears. I think they're very fun patterns. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But just because he is doing it does not make it good. Usually he does good work, and the good work is what makes it good. But just by him being involved with this does not make it something that's like, oh, we have to like this. But it feels like everyone is saying we have to like this because of Sakurai.
And I think it's not only you have to like it, but it makes you a more generous interpreter of the thing that's in front of you. Yes. I made this joke on Blue Sky where I was like, oh yeah, Sakurai, he's such a deep and groundbreaking communicator because he tells us about all the subtle intricacies of all the creative decisions he makes and then copies and pastes Super Smash Brothers. Because so much of the iconography, the UI design, a lot of stuff in the game, like Sakurai's other games, is almost exactly taken from Super Smash Brothers. And in the example I used online, it was the victory screen. And if you've ever played Smash Brothers, like it jumps out at you immediately. And I think somebody who is a very kind of generous reader here would be like, oh, well, that specific font is designed in a way to elicit the feelings that work in tandem with like fighting games. And this game has a lot of influence from fighting games. So you can see that really it's that they're chasing the same feeling. And I'm like, we have to take a step back. And you're telling me that Sakurai makes all these games that all copy from each other, but they're all chasing the same feeling. Like, tell me why the stupid buttons on the menu are shaped in dumb shapes in Super Smash Brothers, and they're the same way in Sakurai's other games. Is it because the menu design is chasing the same feeling? Stop.
Yeah.
Stop injecting all this intention and meaning. It's driving me crazy.
That's the thing. It's like, I am on board with saying, like, you know what? Not all, like, if reusing this sort of template or whatever font or sort of like visual identity is going to allow a studio to more efficiently and sustainably produce video games. Awesome. But we also have to recognize that that's what's happening, if that's what is happening. Right. Like in the same way, when God of War 20 or the most recent one, Ragnarok, came out, there were people online being like, wow, we're using the same canoe jumping animation where he jumps into the canoe and he pushes the boat. And that is obviously very silly to be mad at because you understand why they did that. And
it's low impact. It's a low impact decision.
It doesn't matter.
Right.
And the response to that is just, well, if you wanted us to make an entirely new from the ground up, every single asset in this game, it would never come out and it would cost twice the amount of money. And that's understandable and legit. But then when it comes to this, I think it is a kind of a different thing where it's like, no. If you did that in Smash, if you had like a similar sort of thing in Smash, I'd be like, got it. I understand what it was doing in the first Smash. I see what it's doing in the second Smash. Now it's like, I don't get what it's doing in Kirby Air Ride. Like the visual language of this is different. I think you're supposed to feel different in Kirby Air Ride. As this presentation was going, and they did like the Super Smash Bros. Like a new challenger approaches, sort of like thing. When it's like
the
Kirby,
siren, even the sound is the exact same sound effect.
Right. And so like for me, when as I was watching this, I thought it was kind of a joke. I thought they were doing something by having Sakurai explain that pushing left makes you go left and right makes you go. I was like, oh, this is a joke. Yep. This is like fully they're making a joke here. And then when they're like, Gooey joins the fight, and it was like, oh, Gooey, classic Kirby character.
Wait, we love Gooey.
Yeah, what's Gooey from? Is Gooey's
from Kirby?
Right, but like, it was making me laugh though that they were like, oh, the fucking chef. From dude. Kirby right back at you is in the game. And then they were like, Cappy's here, the mushroom, the basic mushroom enemy. They're like, and then Sakurai's like, oh my gosh, you guys are gonna lose your shit. Mr. Starman is here.
Starman,
like, and I'm not laughing at these concepts because I'm like, yeah, sure, these are enemies. Like it's the same way like Wigglers in Mario Kart Tour, great. But the way that it was like these random ass Kirby enemies, I was like, okay, they're playing a joke, and because they keep doing the Smash stuff, I'm like, are they announcing that they're gonna be putting all these cameo characters in here? And then they didn't, and I think it's better for it because it just means it gets to be Kirby Air Ride,
right?
But like the language of it and the way it was like being shown off made me think, oh, you guys are doing something with this that you just simply aren't doing.
Interesting. So that design language, what it communicated to you was something inherent to Smash, which is kind of the crossover element. So it was weird for that to be communicated, and then it's like, oh no, that actually is not what this is supposed to be communicating.
Yes, and they're like don't, like, not at all. This is not supposed to be what you're getting out of this at all.
Right. And it's funny because I think when there is pushback on this in this conversation as to like, well, no, I'm going to explain to you why the UI is this way. The response that you're going to find is this kind of archaeological response. It is this idea about like Sakurai works with his wife and his wife does the UI, and that's why this looks a certain way. But does this just like fall on deaf ears when I bring this up? I am not interested in excavating media that way. Like, I am not looking for an answer to my media. I'm looking for the interpretation of like, I'm playing this game and I feel a certain way when I see these choices. And why is you're telling me you're going to respond to my interpretation of a piece of media with a factoid about how it was created? Like, what is this?
This is a similar but different thing. Are you a fan of, have you ever seen, they're called Star Wars. They're like movies.
I'm familiar with the wars, yes.
Yeah, so in Star Wars, Episode 3, Revenge of the Sith, the two main guys, Anakin and Obi-Wan, are really good friends. And they tell you that they're really good friends. And then they have this big fallout, and like that's what the whole premise is. Are you familiar?
I can't wait to see where this goes.
Awesome. Yeah. Now, as it is portrayed in the movie, it's very weak. Because you do not see them be friends. You do not like it's they just say like, we're friends. And then they proceed to spend the rest of the movies not being friends. Then like that movie, it's supposed to be this big fallout that they have, but they don't have that because they just never come across like they know each other that well or like friendly or anything like that.
Right.
But if you use that criticism, there's a certain kind of person online who will be like, you don't understand, Peter. Did you watch Clone Wars? And I'm like, I don't. The response to me saying this thing doesn't work should not be go do homework and go watch 7 seasons of a TV show that most people say you can skip half of. So it's exactly what your point is. Like the game you're playing, the show you're watching, the movie you're watching, whatever book you're reading needs to contain the information you need to understand it. Otherwise, I think it falls flat. And so, like, I'm not going to be able to understand that, okay, Sakurai's wife did whatever, so that's why it turned out this way. Okay, cool. That's great if you know that, I guess. But I'm just playing the game.
And I love this example because what's happening is somebody is trying to assert that their level of fandom and their understanding of this thing is higher than yours. And the reason why you're responding a certain way to something, maybe negatively, is because you don't get it like they do. And if you did, if you got it, then you would like it more.
Yes.
And that's what a lot of, I think, like super fans of anything, that's kind of how they go about having these conversations. And I find that there is something particularly fraught about Kirby Air Ride, a game that was not well received critically, that has over time kind of doubled over on itself to create this cult of nostalgia around it from people who maybe did play it, maybe didn't play it, maybe didn't have a critical opinion of it at the time. But there is something that is, I think a lot of people want to cosplay online as somebody who saw the vision first, as somebody who always understood and respected Kirby Air Ride. And now, here it is, getting a 45-minute deep dive by Masahiro Sakurai. It was always smart and deep and intricate, and I knew it. And that is, I think that these presentations are feeding that person.
Yes, we were going to circle back to that because I think that's a really good point, and I think maybe it was you who tweeted something about it. But I'm on the Kirby Air Ride review from IGN.com.
Oh my god! Please tell me. I'm dying to hear this. Yeah.
Which first posted October 13th, 2003.
Oh,
last
beautiful.
Updated.
Yeah.
June 3rd, 2023. What do they update? What do they put in this? What was added to it? It doesn't matter.
Can you? Does it say like update?
No, it doesn't. It
okay,
doesn't
maybe it just like moved over.
I'm sure it was like a back end thing because like nothing I'm reading here is like a change.
Okay.
Maybe it was when they had a website update or something like that. I don't know.
Yeah.
But this review, I just want to read you the subhead of it because I actually think it's quite insightful and it hits what we're talking about. This is the subhead of this review, by the way.
Yeah.
This is back in a time when they broke things down into like music, gameplay, graphics. Like, you know what I mean?
Okay.
This is insightful. It says, Kirby Air Ride review. Simple? Sure. Intuitive? No. And so like that's the thing is like it's simple. Yeah, one button. But like, does this, and this is from, they give it a 5.2 out of 10.
Awesome.
And this is sort of what you're talking about though, about this idea of this is a game that has a simple premise to it, but does that mean it's good? Is it good because it just is this thing that you like and you remember? And I'll be curious to see how reviews for this happen because a bunch of people grew up playing this game and loved it. And then now are returning to it and get to play it basically again.
Okay, and there are two things happening here that I think are really interesting. One, I think if you give a negative review to this game, it is accidentally going to signal to a bunch of hardcore players that you don't get it.
Yes.
And I think it will incentivize people to give it better reviews because they want to be seen as somebody who sees Sakurai is such a big deal that if you don't like one of his games, it's a you problem. That's where we're at. And then
we've gotten there with a few different directors, like game directors, like Kojima, same way, right?
Yes,
like because people say, well, Kojima games are really smart. Actually, they're actually really smart, and they masquerade as being stupid, but they're actually really smart. And now I understand that argument to a certain perspective. That's not what we're talking about, but that is the argument where it's like a lot of people feel like they have to say, well, Death Stranding isn't for me. I understand that people really like it, but it's not for me because people feel afraid. It feels like to say, I don't like this thing that a lot of people seem to say you don't really get online. Same with that. Or like Miyazaki from Software. Same sort of thing. If you don't like Elden Ring, if you don't like Dark Souls, that's actually a you thing because they're actually really, really good.
Yeah. So, and I think like even when you talk about when you get more granular and it's like the stories in like a Souls game, it's like you don't get it because you're not the same level of fan as I am. You don't like it because you don't get it. And if you were as good as me, you would get it and then you would like it.
Yes.
And then I think the second thing happening here that is also interesting is that Peter, I'm often annoyed with the class of games media that has been around my entire life, who all for the most part grew up in the 80s and kind of revels in a certain kind of game on a certain kind of every month or so when a new NES or Super Nintendo game comes to Switch Online, people bend over backwards to tell me that it's secretly one of the greatest games ever made. And then I play these things and I go, you fools! How could you say this to me? And I think for the first time, maybe something funny is happening here where there is a different kind of generation of person who is having a similar response, but this time it is not to the to the lofted classic Super Nintendo game that, if you were there, you understand how important it is. And now it's to the slightly younger person who grew up with the GameCube and who's like, this game did something to me. And now I've got to intellectualize it so that I can say why this game was so effective in a modern context.
Yes. And here's the thing, too. It's this thing that's kind of removed from this idea of whether or not you are into the idea of Kirby Air Riders, right? It's just into the idea of, like, can we talk about this game in a way that makes sense? Or are we just going to just always be in this cycle of just, like, people saying, like, you wouldn't have gotten it, like, you had to be there. And then everyone else who wasn't there being like, this is a bad video game.
Of course. Yeah.
Good tweet from Christian Buckley.
Okay.
He produces videos at Game Rant, among other
big fan.
things.
Yep.
He says, I have no Warp Star in this race. But it's funny to see lots of people who swear by a number of bad NES/SNES/N64 games seemingly having a hard time understanding why people might like a slightly stinky GameCube game. He responds and saying, an entire generation in their mid to late 20s have spent their lives being told by the older gaming community which boring/dad games are actually really important and deserve respect, despite being not very good. But as soon as you suggest that there's charm in a 6 out of 10 game released post 2000s alarms blare. Quote tweets this again, retweeted this. This is the period on this sentence that I really like. He goes, today it's about Kirby Air Ride, but eternally it's about the Sonic Adventure games.
Yes!
100%. I think I made a video when I was at a website, don't remember what for, but I said, like, Sonic Adventure 2 is a game that should be taught in schools to understand how something can be good, like really, really good, and really, really bad.
Yes.
And how you walk away from that. The all reads of this sucks and also this is amazing are, like, totally valid. However, people cannot get their heads around the idea that, like, oh, people do like Kirby Air Ride.
Is it worth it to study Twilight to uncover why it was so successful?
Yes.
Is it worth? You know what I mean? Because if you said, like, if you asked anybody, is Twilight a good book? The most common refrain will be no, but. So it's doing something good. It's doing something worth investigating. And can we recognize that it is not maybe this kind of highbrow piece of art, but at the same time is doing something, is operating in a way that it was able to kind of carve out a space for itself in so many people's hearts? Yes.
And it's also like, well, what is it trying to do? What is a game? What is a game trying to do? What is a book trying to do? What is a movie trying to do? I think about, like, one of my favorite movies of all time, Pop Star, Never Stop, Never Stopping. Love this flick.
Yep.
Is it, like, should it be awarded accolades for its script writing and characters? No. But that's because it's not trying to do that. Do you know what I mean? Like, it's not trying to be some, like, Daniel Day-Lewis was not in the movie for a reason, you know? That's not to say it's not bad. It is actually quite good, but it's good for a different reason than you might think a movie needs to be good.
Is there genius in Pop Star Never Stop Popping?
Yes.
We will discuss this on the bonus pod next week. We'll have
a film book club where you'll watch it, I'll watch it. I mean, you don't have to twist my arm to watch it.
Only one episode. But at the end of the day, Peter, I think something that I'm really interested in seeing with Kirby Air Riders.
Yes, sir.
Is that I really want to know what is going to happen in this contemporary environment where my perspective on this game, if I had to boil it down, for my blog, jakesteinberg.substack.com, I wrote a piece about Pokemon Black and White being what I call Reddit games.
Yeah.
And
this is a perfect example of this.
Yeah, and this is when the kind of ways in which people talk about a game, the myth surrounding the game over time, grows to be more part of the discussion than memory of the game itself.
Yeah.
And the memory is actually not accurate to the ways in which people talk about it. And I do feel that part of the attraction of liking Kirby Air Ride, of being somebody that likes Kirby Air Ride, is because you like something that was ignored. So this game becomes a myth because nobody really plays it. And to like it now is to be in on the secret, to claim the gem that nobody else could see. But myth is not memory. So the internet's love of Air Ride, I don't feel, is really love it all. I feel that it is credential. It is performance. It is a badge that says you know better. And I think that this game is more an identity than it is play. And now, that's all well and good in the past and when we talk about the myth. But now, this game is coming out, and from your eyes, from my eyes, it looks very similar to the game that came out in 2003. So what is going to happen when myth collides with reality? Can nostalgia survive contact with the present? Because the new game will not be what people remember, because people never remembered the game in the first place. They remembered the feeling of being the one who knew.
You ask, can nostalgia survive colliding with the present, which I think is badass, to put it in a I think that's quite good.
Thank you.
The thing that I would say is, yes, it can, and it always does.
Wow, seriously?
Yeah. Yeah, of course. I think people love to remember things, and I think I would love to give people credit and say, like, we are able to discern these things.
Wow.
I would like to think that we can.
Okay.
In my experience, we cannot. In my experience, it just takes a single, like, pointing at the screen, be like, it's that thing,
right
from before. You know that thing. For people to be like, yes, I do, and I love it. It's why Funko Pops are huge. Do you know what I mean? Or
sure.
Huge. I don't know, not anymore. But you know what I mean? But, like, it's just this idea of, like, I think people who have made I Like Kirby Air Ride into their personality are going to encounter Kirby Air Riders and be like, and now for part 2, I love Kirby Air Riders as well.
What's just funny to me, because I think it's so clear that, and I'm not trying to pick on any individual Kirby Air Ride enjoyer,
no, of course,
but I do think that there is a large, sure, I do think that there's a large audience of people who don't like the game as much as they like Reddit and retrospectives about the game and videos that show them how cool and ahead of its time City Trial was. But, like, I don't know if that is the same as liking. As a matter of fact, I don't think that is the same as liking the game. And I wonder what's going to happen when this game does not have this myth surrounding it, when it doesn't feed the part of you that is like, liking this is a credential, because now that it's a new game and everybody's playing it on Switch 2, you don't get any credential for being there.
Yeah, it's interesting too, because I think there's this idea that you just sort of spoke to about, like, do you like the thing or do you like the stuff surrounding it? And I think that there's a difference between liking a game's community and engaging with the game outside of actually playing it, and actually liking the game and playing the game.
Yeah.
And I think both of those things are valid.
Of course.
And I think that fandom is a really great way to express, what you like, and a great way to engage with other people and take what you like to a more meaningful and deep level, right? Because if you can learn that, oh my gosh, actually the way the city, I don't know anything about Kirby Air Ride in this way, but, like, oh my gosh, actually the way the city is designed implies that it's a city built for people like King DDD. And so it's a lost civilization of whatever. I don't know. That
was good. That was
good.
That
up. That's my, like, what I would put on YouTube if I had to.
Yeah.
About this. And that's fun. And that's really fun to engage with. Then when you play it, you go, oh my gosh, they were so right. They were so right about this. I loved watching, like, Easter egg videos for, like, Halo and stuff like that when I was a kid.
Yeah.
And then I would go find those things and I'd be like, oh my gosh. And that's cool. But at the end of the day, that is similar to what we were talking about not last week, but our last episode, about, like, the preview event experience of you are experiencing this game in a way that is actually not how everyone else is going to experience it.
Right.
And so if you're going to experience it as a part of a community, that's great. But you also have to understand that that's just not the overall experience that most people are going to have.
Yeah. You're experiencing something separate, which is still,
okay.
Yeah,
okay.
exactly.
Super valid.
Yeah. I think about this a lot with, like Pokemon games, because it is such, like, a big brand that it's like the games can add to the thing that you like without you even liking the game, because, like, the world gets wider and new things are introduced and you can kind of pluck out the things but that doesn't mean you like the game,
I like Fuecoco. What a cute little guy.
Yeah.
I think that Pokemon Scarlet and Violet are two of the worst things. It's the worst thing I've ever spent money on. Pokemon Violet or Scarlet, whichever one I got. Yeah, look at him. He's a little pepper. How can you not love that? How can you not love his dumb little face?
They sent me this.
They is in
the
the
Pokemon.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, I know. Isn't he good?
Yeah, he's so good. Oh, is he an apple or is he a pepper?
I think he's a pepper.
Because like looking at his face right now, it looks like he's like an apple sliced in half.
Yeah, he's like a little pepper guy.
He's so good. On this. He's good.
He's actually looking at him now. I forgot how good he was.
He's really good.
Damn.
But that said, Pokemon Scarlet and Violet, truly awful video games, in my opinion.
Damn.
It's exactly what you're saying though. Like I can like you can like the.
I won't go that far, Peter.
There's a song lyric that I've been stewing on. It's by a band called I think like PD's World or something like that.
Yeah. Okay.
Where he says like he's talking about his girlfriend's brother or something like that who left rehab and is in the army now, and it's like it's either shooting guns or heroin. Can you at least one of them pays for college? Can you support the individual without supporting the whole damn complex? Can you support the Fuecocos without supporting the Pokemon Scarlet and Violet? Can you support I don't know how to bring this back to Kirby Air Ride because I think it's nuanced and complicated.
Is there anything else you would like to add on the subject of Sakurai and Kirby Air Ride?
I think it looks like fun. I think it looks like fun.
Listen,
I want to play, but fun.
I want to play this with you.
Yeah, that's the other thing though too. Like the idea of like doing this in multiplayer, like not with my siblings, but like playing this online. I'm like, oh, this seems very good. And playing it in a more competitive way where I don't have to maybe worry about the feelings of the people I'm sitting in the room with. I like Kirby Air Ride, and I'm excited for Kirby Air Riders. But I think that we all need to just like look at each other and say like, we need to be a little bit real about what we're dealing with here.
Yeah, have higher standards.
Yeah, I'm just like
because I think
it's okay to be excited. It's okay to be excited for this, but also like we just can't lie to ourselves and say like there's something really nuanced and deep going on below the surface here. Like guys, he said to like hit left to go left. What are we talking about?
Sakurai could make Kirby Air Riders could be the greatest game of all time. It could be a 10 out of 10. I could get hands on this game and it would not change the way that I felt about this presentation.
Right,
because
exactly.
That's my problem with this. And I feel a lot of people are like trying to cover themselves because they're like, Sakurai makes good games. And if I criticize his presentation, then it's like I'm seeding something that I don't understand about the game. And it's like, no, that's like not true at all. And if anything, there's a degree to which this whole presentation has kind of soured me on his style. And before, when he used to do these presentations for a fighting game and for something that I think justified it a little bit more, there was a degree to which I liked it and it endeared me to him. And now it's one of these moments where I wonder if he even understands why it's so good, like why it works. Yeah.
Didn't he say something too? Did you tweet this maybe where someone said like, he says like, isn't it just Mario Kart? No, haha, but the real fans understand. Or something like that. You know what I mean? Like he said like real fans get it or something along the lines of that.
There is yes. We discussed this at length in my Discord, and there was a back and forth that people misunderstood. And the idea is that he opens this presentation by saying, widely, people thought this, and people would tell you this. And then he switches his language, and then he says, but true fans know that the appeal of this game actually has nothing to do with racing. And he makes he feeds this kind of compulsion to be like, there are people that do get it and there are people that don't get it. And the real fans get it.
Yes.
And the fake fans think that this game is just like Mario Kart. And some people misunderstood, and they were like, oh, Sakurai's admitting that this game is a little bit like Mario Kart. And I'm like, no. He is saying that the stupid people think that this game is like Mario Kart, but you, the real fan, understand.
It's actually way more than that.
As fans of the original game know, the appeal of this game is actually not the races. Whereas when he starts the presentation, he says, the original was widely viewed as a racing game featuring Kirby. You race and battle with familiar characters around courses with different features, or so they say.
They.
or so they say. This very like those people. That like almost an acknowledgement that the game was not critically well received, and the reason for that was because they misunderstood what the game was. They didn't get it like the way that you get it. Yeah.
So I'm gonna be really curious. Okay. Here's a question for you, Jake. As we close this up,
okay.
How is this game gonna score? What is this gonna score on Metacritic?
Great question.
I got a number.
86.
I'm lower. I'm like 82.
You're dreaming.
I think it's gonna be 82, and I think it's gonna be like because there is the group of people, as you said, these people like the sort of like more like prolific, prominent voices in games who are a little bit older that see this game and remember it, and they're like, "This is the worst game I've ever played."
Wow. Okay. Yeah.
And so you are going to get a lot of 5s. I think it's going to be like it's going to be really split down the middle of like 5s and like 8, 9, 10s.
That's tough. I really feel that the cult of personality around Sakurai is so strong right now that it will affect the generosity of the gamer when they play the game to review it. That's where I'm at. I think like because that's the thing, you get this game to review. I think the reviews for this game after 1 week are going to be very different from the reviews for this game after 1 month. And I think
agreed.
1 week might be enough time to get anybody who's like, all right, it's Sakurai's new game. I'm gonna give it a fair shot. Can you have fun in that game for a week? Yes.
Yeah.
And I think that will compel people to give it a higher score, but we'll see.
Yeah, I think that's.
I like your take though. Possible. I like this. I want to take a shot.
I'm gonna say 82. I'm gonna say it's gonna be 82.
This is fun. I like this a lot. All right, cool.
Because I think it's something that I appreciate that you said. I think during our conversation, maybe not not recorded. You were like. We just like want to remind everyone this is a Kirby spin-off racing game. It's not to say anything about its quality necessarily, but like y'all.
I agree, and I do think that it's going to. I'm so curious about how this game will sell, to be honest with you, and that space where it's coming out about a month after Pokemon Legends ZA. It's coming out in November. Switch 2.
This is the Switch 2 holiday game.
Yeah, and obviously, it's not really, right? Because when you go into the store, the holiday games that occupy the most of the shelves are going to be Mario Kart and Pokemon Legends ZA.
Yeah.
And I am having a hard time putting my finger on the person who picks up their Nintendo Switch 2 to get as a gift for their kid and then goes over to the store shelves and says Kirby Air Riders.
Yeah, over Mario Kart, over Donkey Kong. Yeah. And you're right. And Pokemon, like,
and over whatever. I think part of the reason this game is coming out in November is because there's going to be a big third-party Switch 2 game coming out in November, whether that be Elden Ring or some other dumb thing that we I don't know. And they were like, so the real thing that's actually
is this other thing. Yep. I think that's
yeah. So we'll see. But I like there's a part of me, Peter, that's like, will this game break 1 million?
That's the
GameCube game just about broke 1 million. Yes.
Okay, then I would say yes, it will break 1 million.
I feel like it's going to be cool. I just want to say, like, how many Switch 2s are out there?
Yeah, a lot.
Okay.
It's the best-selling console of all time already.
I know, but like, even if there's 8 million out there, right? You're telling me that, like, find out. Crunch the numbers on this.
I got it.
I'm so curious about this, dude, because I just think in its first year, you're getting that Switch 2, you're buying your first game and you're buying your second game. You're maybe buying your third game. This is normal people, not like core gamers, obviously. So yeah. So I'm like
almost 6 million, by the way.
Yeah, that's good. That's good. But
as
like
of August 1st,
out of all of the casual, like, I just don't think that this game permeates the casual market like at all. Maybe I'm wrong, dude.
No, I think you're right. And you know what else I think is not in its favor? And this is exactly something I didn't think about, but what you just sort of pointed out. Like, it's also when it comes time to be like, okay, pick a game. Which racing game do you want? Mario Kart or Kirby Air Ride? And it's like Mario Kart.
And even for a casual person who already has Mario Kart, it's like you're going to buy another racing game?
Right. That's the thing. It's a casual person. It does not want to play this because they have Mario Kart.
Yeah, so it's just a tough sell for me because it's like I think your second game is then Pokemon and then Donkey Kong and then maybe that Zelda spin-off game, maybe Metroid. Like I don't know, man. I just it's when it comes right down to it, and we're looking at the Switch 2 overall sales, the best-selling games on Switch, where is Kirby Air Riders going to be on that Wikipedia page? Is it going to be in the top 10? I don't think so. Is it going to be in the top 20? I don't know, dude. I don't know.
Yeah.
Is it going to sell better than Kirby and the Forgotten Land? No shot. And that's, you know what I mean? That's probably the best-selling Kirby game ever. And how much did that game sell? Do you have that number for me?
Kirby and the Forgotten Land
on the Nintendo Switch. On the Nintendo Switch, which had 1 million consoles out there.
It sold 7.5 million copies.
Oh damn! I thought it did more. That's crazy. Okay,
that is 1 year ago. That's March 31st, 2024. So actually, 18 months ago.
And obviously, that's incredible. Obviously, that's really impressive. But again.
This surpasses the previous record held by Kirby's Dream Land, which sold 5.1 million copies.
Okay. So
Kirby Air Ride not coming fucking close to this.
So that's what I'm saying. Air Riders, it's going to cross 1 million? Probably. Is it going to cross 2 million? I can't see it, dude. I can't see it. And that doesn't mean it's not a success, but I think I'm talking about is it a big deal? And I think a lot of people are trying to tell you the answer is yes.
Yeah.
So, all right.
Jake, can I read you an essay that I wrote?
I would love. I'm so curious about what compelled you this week to write about it.
This is something that actually I've thought a lot about, and maybe we've talked about, but not in it. But this is a new information, new context for me. There's something I admire about Donkey Kong Bonanza's disinterest in understanding the concept of clothes. This week, I started playing DK's latest outing and was interested to see that the game starts with the great ape wearing corduroy pants, suspenders, and a hard hat right from the jump. Surely this means that Donkey Kong has finally eaten from the Garden of Eden, come to understand his innocent nakedness, and covered his shame alongside the rest of his kin. When a catastrophic natural disaster sucks everything down deep into the depths of the underground, however, Kong is rendered naked. This is not uncommon. This is not an uncommon occurrence. In the wake of natural disasters like tornadoes, many of them rip the clothes off people caught inside them. But instead of being horrified for DK, the rest of his primates and monkeys in his community hardly bat an eyelash at his nakedness. One of them, count him, one monkey, tells you, he says to you, "Did you lose your britches when the mine collapsed?" But that remains the entirety of Donkey Kong's interest in discussing his clothes and lack thereof. Despite the horror of that lone monkey displayed, despite the horror that lone monkey displayed at Kong's nudity, no one seems to be bothered by Cranky Kong and his propensity to let it hang, so to speak. In fact, there are plenty of characters in Donkey Kong Bonanza who, by the knowledge passed on to me in the early moments of the game between DK and the horrified minor monkey, all know about their nakedness, and yet they embrace it. Perhaps they live in a world much more accepting of the natural order of our bodies, and the horrified minor was an outlier, a representation of the prudish nature of the viewer, of me. Perhaps my curiosity for this moment is meant to hold up a mirror to my own understanding of nakedness and the way clothes play a part in our culture. Or perhaps they just want to give DK some pants, so you're not thinking about his implied missing butthole as the camera positions itself behind him for the rest of the game. It honestly could be anything.
Peter, thank you so much for sharing that piece about Donkey Kong.
Yeah, you're welcome. I'll slip there.
I'm sorry, my mistake. I don't know what compelled me there. How funny that I think when you said what this was about, I think my mind went in a bunch of different directions, and I'm surprised at the direction that you took it in. Now, I have a question for you. Do you have in your head kind of a headcanon as to if you had to guess a reason why they did this? They went out of their way to start you off in the. Yeah, I'm curious what your
it's
theory
two things.
Is. Okay.
The real answer is because Seth Rogen asked for it.
Okay.
Seth Rogen in an interview was, because he plays Donkey Kong in the movies, was like at some point, can we give this guy pants?
Wow.
Like, it's ridiculous that he's running around without pants. Okay. Seth Rogen apparently does not understand that he is an ape.
Yes.
And does not, traditionally wear clothes.
Okay.
I do think a part of the reason is because of the implied butthole.
Yeah.
And because you are positioned behind him for the most part, the entire game. And the more you're positioned behind an animal, in my opinion, that you play as, the more you think about it. For example, in the game Stray, I don't know. I thought about it a lot. The fact that I'm behind an animal that has its like tail raised up like this.
Yes.
Am I crazy for thinking about that? That like, if I were in this position in real life behind a cat, I would move. Just because I just don't want to see this.
Okay, there's something interesting there is that Stray is, I think, very like trying to have high fidelity to a real cat.
It's trying to be like, this is a real cat. And I'm like, ugh.
So that is something. May I offer an alternative interpretation on Okay.
Please.
I think my interpretation was that what we were witnessing was less clothing for the sake of why you and I might wear clothing, but more for the sake of a worker's uniform.
Yes, I think he's in a worker's uniform is actually also another answer for it.
He's doing a dirty job, as it were. He's getting soot and grease and dirt all over. He wants to protect his fur a little bit. So I like this explanation, but I do wish that this explanation was maybe a bit more. If I were to dramatize this, I have this vision for this, Peter, and I'm so glad you wrote this piece because now I have the perfect excuse to finally share this thing I've been thinking about. Okay, I so desperately wish that instead of overalls, instead of like a little pants overall thing, which I think they did to because Mario wears overalls.
Well, I would like to say he's not wearing overalls. Donkey Kong is not wearing overalls. He's wearing they're suspenders.
Okay, but I think it's still in the image of overalls.
I believe it. Yes, it is.
Yeah.
But it's like pants with like breeches, like suspenders that go up and over.
Okay.
Because overalls is like a full overalls is also your shirt too.
Right. And I think that there are no overalls because they could not make overalls for this big strong ape.
Yeah, which wouldn't work.
Yeah, and then the other thing Mario has that's kind of iconic to his character.
Hat. Gotta give him a hat.
But I wish it was less about trying to maybe invoke the image of Mario, and I wish it was more about this kind of workers thing. I have this vision, Peter, of Donkey Kong in a jumpsuit, and it's like his working uniform literally meant to like keep his fur clean, but because he is such a big strong Kong, different from all the monkeys, you see all the monkeys in this jumpsuit, but his has like tears around the muscles, like
because he's
Hulk style. Like, you know what I mean? It's like, oh yeah, he's a big beefy guy. I feel like it'd be such a cute design. I really like it.
No, I agree. I completely like it.
Damn.
But it's so interesting to me that like, anytime there's like anthropomorphic animals, they do not want you to think about their clothes, and they do not want you to think about what those clothes say about them. So, for example, in Sonic, Sonic wears shoes, but that doesn't really count, right? Like as far as like what we think about clothes as. Yeah. But all of the women characters have to wear clothes because they give them these curves, right?
Peter, that's crazy.
It's a whole thing, but they do not want you under any circumstances to think about it because it implies a bunch of fucked up stuff that either Sonic's running around naked and he knows that, or that like they make the women like hide their bodies out of shame or whatever. But then to have, and I'm just going to send you this picture of Donkey Kong standing next to Cranky Kong in this game. It's sort of this interesting thing that like, if they were to not address Donkey Kong's clothes and the fact that he lost them, I don't think that this would be like make me think about this maybe in this way. But the fact that like the first thing that happens is you lose your clothes and then someone like comments on it. I'm like, that means that they know that Donkey Kong is naked. That means they know that Cranky Kong that's Cranky Kong. Yes. The old man.
Yes.
I guess he's not a man, but like he's just wearing a shirt, no pants.
What does it say that Donkey Kong of old in the country era, defined by his monkeyness, his shirtlessness, his only wearing a tie, maybe a young businessman who had outgrown civilization, but he had not quite let it go. The tie, the civilized adornment on this ape's body, but now Bonanza. Has something about Donkey Kong fundamentally changed? That the line between animal and man, between jungle and society, has something changed here? Donkey Kong of old, he has always straddled the border. Donkey Kong, think about him. What does he do? He plays bongos. He drives carts. And yet, if we, I think to put pants on him now is to declare that maybe the scales have been tipped. He is not a wild animal in a tie anymore. He is a creature who knows how he looks and recognizes himself as an icon.
I wonder if it's something about us that's changed.
Oh my God.
I wonder if we view him as a person. I wonder at what point he was granted personhood.
I agree. I think that there was this Donkey Kong before the redesign who was
yes, that's what it is. Like they took him from being an animal into being a man.
Yes, he's a big furry man now.
Yes.
They're big guy, little guy stories. We've seen these all throughout games and media at large. God of War, Kratos and Atreus, The Last of Us, Joel and Ellie. What is this? What is this? Donkey Kong and Pauline? Big guy, little guy story?
Yeah, he is.
Wreck-It Ralph?
Is that what this is? Is this supposed to be Wreck-It Ralph? Because it's the most Wreck-It Ralph thing I've ever seen in my life.
Okay,
is this the whole thing?
It's tough because like Wreck-It Ralph takes inspiration from this other thing.
Donkey Kong.
It's kind of like a Uncharted Indiana Jones Tomb Raider situation. It's
where it's like kind of they're all in a circle of like this was influenced by this, but then it influenced this, and then I
think so.
I'll say Donkey Kong Bonanza is like the most like this is what a Wreck-It Ralph video game would be. You know?
Yeah.
Isn't Donkey Kong in Wreck-It Ralph in the movie? I saw it once when I was a child, so it's really tough to say.
I don't think so.
There's a Nintendo character.
Is.
Oh, maybe
Bowser
that's
is.
what I'm thinking of. That's what
Bowser is. Yeah.
Oh yeah, because they have like their like bad guy like group.
Yes. Just because I'm a bad guy doesn't mean I'm a bad guy. Bad guy.
Yeah. That's actually how I feel about Kirby Air Riders. Just because you're a good game doesn't mean you're like a good game. That's actually don't cut that out of the video.
I think there's a degree to which the tie says I dabble in civilization and the pants say I live in civilization.
Well, I mean, if you really want to break it down,
yeah.
I mean, Donkey Kong obviously heavily influenced by King Kong.
Yes. Okay.
And there's been a lot of writing about this. So excuse me if I'm not saying this as eloquently as it's been written or with the exact like right message, but there's a lot about, so what does King Kong do when he gets to New York City in like the original? He steals the woman, right?
The woman. Yes.
And he steals this white blonde woman, and Kong comes from Africa. And so there's been this writing about how King Kong is a film, maybe it was a book too, I don't remember.
Wow, it's like the fear of the white man.
No, it's a fear of the black man.
No, yeah. I'm sorry, a fear belonging to the white man.
And it's this idea of like Kong wants to fit into the world. He wants to be he wants to fit in. He wants to do all these things, but he can't because he's fundamentally different than you and me, right? Because he's a gorilla. He's an ape. And obviously this is an extraordinarily racist. It's an extraordinarily racist trope, right? And Donkey Kong obviously heavily inspired by King Kong. And what does Donkey Kong do? What is the first thing we know about Donkey Kong? He steals a woman to away from Mario. Is Donkey Kong wearing the tie in the original Donkey Kong?
No shot. That like pixely guy?
Yeah, I can't. No, he's not.
No shot. Yeah.
So the question then I would have to do some research on that I don't think I want to do in this moment because we're doing an audio podcast, is discover when he wore the tie first and what that says about it and whether he is cosplaying as a person. Is he's trying to become a person. Okay. And if we are to understand him in the same context we understand King Kong, where he is not a person. And it's this horribly, horribly racist thing.
And now
this is why you should join our Patreon, because where else are you getting these discussions other than Critical Error? Become a part of the nation, patreon.com/critical error. Only place you're getting the Donkey Kong, King Kong, horrific history of racism connections.
But Peter, we've got full circle now where it's like he has not grabbed and stolen the woman. Now he has fully transformed into this thing where he can just be friends with the woman. Like,
oh, sure.
You know what I'm saying?
And maybe that is the push away from the horrors of the past,
Yes.
where we looked at Donkey Kong and we laughed and said, you are not a man, and yet you wear a tie. You can never be a man. And now we are, yes, exactly what you're saying, granting him clothes and saying you are one of us, and you do get to have a relationship with this woman that extends outside of you kidnapping her.
This started out as kind of a bit, and now it's gotten to a place where I'm gonna need the commenters to let me know. I believe in this now.
I think like the King Kong stuff is legit. Like, people have written about that for years.
But the way in which Donkey Kong started out as being this kind of take on King Kong,
yes,
and like took its inspirations. Yeah. And it's like we translated the things that were kind of commentary, and we took them over, and now they're no longer commentary, but like that thing is still there. Oh, dude, this is crazy.
Are you gonna? Here's the question: who's gonna do this? Are you doing this on your blog, or am I gonna make this into my next video?
I think this is your next video. It's too good of a visual thing, but
because I mean, the second that the King Kong thing was pointed out with like the original like King Kong movie, where it's like a stop motion thing, whatever, I was like, oh, it's like so racist. I was like, oh my gosh, this is like, because it's old, right? It's like the old timey racism where it's like freaky. I mean, all racism, you know what I mean, though. Like, maybe I will make this as my next video. Actually,
man,
I might do that. Because I think there is something to that, and I know we're kind of like joking around a little bit about like Donkey Kong and his place in the world and whatever, but like I do think there's a read that you can have on this and understanding like something in us changed where we are not okay with Donkey Kong being something to ogle at and point at and say you're not one of us.
Donkey Kong's denim cage.
Ugh. Let him free. Jake, can I real quick give a big shout out and thank you to our member of Critical Error Royalty on patreon.com.
There's a member of Critical Error Royalty. That's a $10 or up Patreon.
That is a $10 or up patron. Someone who is absolutely helping us keep the lights on. We have a whole swath of the Critical Error Nation who are getting our extra bonus episode, which we record every single week. We even had one from last week when Jake was sick. We were there for the Critical Error Nation.
Don't miss.
No, we do not miss. Not for the nation. Not for anyone. Well, really not for the nation. But big thank you to Andrew Bolkar, currently our only member of the Critical Error Royalty on Patreon. Again, patreon.com/Critical Error if you're interested in joining his ranks or becoming a part of the Critical Error Nation to get that bonus episode, to support a podcast. The only podcast out here that's breaking down Donkey Kong and his relationship with King Kong. The only podcast that's taking a genuine look at Masahiro Sakurai and his identity as this fake auteur that people want video game developers to be.
And for this one member of the Critical Error Royalty, Peter does not even know this. He has not heard it, but I have created a special, significant sound effect to celebrate our first ever Patreon member at this tier. So I'm going to count down to 3, and then we're going to play that very incredible sound effect. 3, 2, 1.
Andrew Bolkar.
Wow.
It was amazing.
I hope everyone enjoyed that. That was for Andrew Bolkar for supporting us at the $10 tier. This is the kind of treatment you can expect when you're part of the royalty.
It's true. And if you want to join him, again, that is patreon.com/critical error, or scan the QR code with the little dinosaur on it. The old ones, the QR code doesn't work, and I get emails about it all the time. If you want to join, you can do that there. Until we meet again, Jake Steinberg.
Bye.
Bye.